Welcome to my channel HD Rare Coins 111, the place where history meets treasure. Here, every coin tells a story, from the oldest United States classics that shaped our past to the newest rare discoveries that amaze collectors today. If you love the thrill of uncovering hidden value, exploring the beauty of design, and learning the secrets behind coins worth fortunes, then you're in the right place. Join us as we dive deep into the world of rare U.S. coins, both old and new, and reveal the fascinating details that make them priceless. Top 1. In 1976, the United States celebrated its bicentennial, a once-in-a-lifetime milestone marking 200 years of independence. To honor this historic moment, the U.S. Mint released special commemorative coins, including the Kennedy half-dollar dated 1776 to 1976. This coin holds a special place in the hearts of collectors, not only because of its patriotic design but also because it embodies the pride and spirit of a nation that had reached its 200th birthday. The Kennedy half-dollar had already been in circulation for over a decade by this point, first introduced in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy following his assassination. By 1976, the coin was widely recognized as one of the most iconic circulating coins of modern America. However, the bicentennial edition gave it an entirely new layer of meaning, blending the memory of a beloved president with the celebration of American freedom. On the obverse, the coin retained Gilroy Roberts' striking portrait of President Kennedy, a design that had become familiar to Americans everywhere. Kennedy's profile remained strong and dignified, a symbol of leadership and progress. The inscriptions, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," were preserved, along with the dual date, 1776 to 1976, a reminder that this was no ordinary half-dollar. It was minted specifically to commemorate 2 centuries of the nation's history. The reverse of the bicentennial Kennedy half-dollar is what truly set it apart. Instead of the usual presidential seal, this edition featured a unique design by Seth G. Huntington. It depicts Independence Hall in Philadelphia, the site where both the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution were debated and adopted. Above the hall, the words, "United States of America," arch gracefully, with half-dollar at the bottom and "E Pluribus Unum" centered above the historic building. This design connected the coin directly to the birthplace of the nation's liberty. The choice of Independence Hall was no accident. It was meant to remind Americans of the sacrifices and courage of the Founding Fathers while linking that legacy to the present. Holding one of these coins in 1976 meant carrying a small piece of the bicentennial celebration in your pocket. For everyday Americans, it was more than just currency, it was a keepsake of history. The Mint struck bicentennial Kennedy half-dollars at several facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Collectors could obtain both clad and silver-clad versions, with the San Francisco Mint producing 40% silver-proof and uncirculated editions that shimmered with brilliance. These silver issues were sold directly to collectors, making them highly prized today. In circulation, the coins became instant favorites. Children and adults alike set them aside as souvenirs, and many families saved rolls of them to pass down through generations. This widespread saving means that circulated examples remain plentiful, but truly pristine, high-grade specimens, particularly in silver-proof, are significantly rarer and much more valuable. The coin's large size and patriotic design also made it a popular collector's item worldwide. Foreign visitors to the United States during the bicentennial often took these half-dollars home as mementos of their travels, spreading their historical importance beyond America's borders. The Kennedy bicentennial half-dollar also reflected the spirit of the 1970s. The nation was experiencing challenges, including political tensions and economic struggles, but the bicentennial year provided an opportunity for unity and pride. Fireworks displays, parades, and celebrations swept across the country, and these coins circulated as everyday reminders of America's resilience. For coin collectors, the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar offers a wide range of varieties to pursue. From the standard circulation strikes to the dazzling proof editions, the series gives opportunities for both beginner and advanced collectors. Error coins from this year, including double strikes, off-center strikes, and unusual planchet mistakes, are especially fascinating and command strong premiums. The bicentennial design was so iconic that the Mint produced it for 2 full years, 1975 and 1976, with all coins carrying the dual date 1776 to 1976. No Kennedy half dollars dated solely 1975 were ever struck, making the bicentennial issues even more distinct within the series. Visually, the combination of Kennedy's profile on the obverse and Independence Hall on the reverse tells a powerful story, the link between America's revolutionary beginnings and its modern identity. Kennedy, a president associated with progress and vision, paired with the hall where independence was declared, created one of the most meaningful coin designs of the 20th century. Today, collectors seek out the finest examples of this coin, particularly those graded at the highest levels by professional grading services. Coins with flawless surfaces, strong luster, and sharp details are treasured pieces that hold tremendous historical and monetary value. Though millions were struck, only a small fraction have survived in perfect condition, untouched by circulation or handling. These superb coins represent the pinnacle of bicentennial numismatics and continue to captivate new generations of collectors. The Kennedy half-dollar from the bicentennial remains a symbol of patriotism, remembrance, and pride. It reminds us of America's 200-year journey, its struggles and triumphs, and the leaders and citizens who shaped its destiny. Holding one of these coins connects us directly to the excitement of 1976, a year unlike any other in U.S. history. For those fortunate enough to own the rarest and finest examples of the United States of America Kennedy half-dollar 1776 to 1976, its value can reach as high as $250,000. Top 2. The Kennedy half-dollar holds a very special place in the hearts of collectors, and among its many issues, the 1971 release stands out as a milestone. It marked the beginning of a new chapter for the series and carried with it a major change that forever shaped the coin's legacy. This particular half-dollar not only represents history and artistry, but it also connects us to a time of transition in American coinage. When the Kennedy half-dollar was first introduced in 1964, it was struck in 90% silver, a decision made to honor the beloved president after his tragic assassination in 1963. For years afterward, the half-dollar continued to contain silver, but by the late 1960s, rising silver prices created challenges for the U.S. Mint. It became increasingly expensive to strike circulating coins with silver content, and as a result, the Mint made a dramatic change beginning in 1971. The Kennedy half-dollar of 1971 was the very first year the coin was struck without any silver in its composition for circulation strikes. Instead, it was produced entirely in copper-nickel clad, a combination of metals designed to withstand everyday use and reduce costs. This transition marked the end of silver circulating half-dollars and the start of a new era. On the obverse, the coin retained the familiar and powerful design created by Gilroy Roberts. President Kennedy's profile remained bold and dignified, facing left, capturing both his leadership and his enduring legacy. The inscriptions, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," accompanied the portrait, while the date 1971 appeared beneath. The reverse continued to feature Frank Gasparo's detailed rendition of the presidential seal. The design is filled with symbolism: a majestic eagle with its wings spread, a shield at its chest, and an olive branch and arrows in its talons. Surrounding the eagle are 50 stars, representing the states of the Union, along with the inscriptions, "United States of America," and "half-dollar." It is one of the most striking reverse designs ever placed on a U.S. coin. The 1971 half-dollar was struck in both Philadelphia and Denver, with Philadelphia coins carrying no mint mark and Denver coins marked with a small D. Additionally, the San Francisco Mint produced proof versions for collectors. These proof coins, with their mirrored surfaces and sharp details, remain some of the most eye-catching examples of the issue. While millions of these coins were minted for circulation, many Americans chose to save them rather than spend them. The Kennedy half-dollar had already become a symbol of remembrance for a fallen leader, and the large size of the coin made it an appealing keepsake. As a result, despite heavy mintages, finding coins that were actually used in daily commerce became less common over time. What makes the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar especially fascinating is the existence of errors and varieties that occurred during its production. Some of the most valuable pieces are struck on leftover silver planchets from 1970, a mistake that created an extremely rare transitional error. These coins appear silver in color rather than the typical clad composition, and they are highly sought after by advanced collectors. Other collectible varieties include double die obverse, off-center strikes, and coins with unusual planchet flaws. Each of these errors transforms a standard 1971 half-dollar into a rare and desirable treasure, with values that can reach remarkable heights depending on condition and rarity. The historical backdrop of the 1971 half-dollar also makes it significant. The early 1970s were a time of change in America, both politically and socially. Moving the half-dollar fully away from silver reflected the economic realities of the era, while the continued use of Kennedy's image kept the memory of his presidency alive for millions of Americans. From a collector's perspective, the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar represents both accessibility and opportunity. Common circulated examples can be found easily, making it a starting point for new collectors. Yet, at the same time, rare varieties, proof strikes, and high-grade examples offer challenges and rewards for experienced numismatists. The coin also marks the beginning of the long run of copper-nickel-clad Kennedy halves, which continue to this day. For that reason, the 1971 issue is not just another coin, it is the turning point that shaped how the series would be produced for decades to come. Proof coins from San Francisco are especially admired, particularly when they display deep cameo contrast, where Kennedy's portrait appears frosted against a mirror-like field. These coins are visually stunning and represent some of the highest quality strikes of the year. Collectors also appreciate the coin for its sheer symbolism. The obverse portrait of Kennedy represents ideals of progress and leadership, while the reverse with the eagle embodies strength and national pride. The combination of these elements, struck on a coin during such a pivotal year, gives the 1971 half-dollar a depth of meaning beyond its metal composition. Over the years, the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar has grown in prestige among collectors. It is a reminder of the end of silver coinage in everyday circulation, the continuation of a beloved design, and the enduring value of American history captured in metal. As with many coins, condition is everything when it comes to value. Coins that have been well preserved, with no marks or wear, can be worth far more than typical examples. Professional grading services play a vital role in distinguishing these high-grade pieces, and the finest known examples are considered true prizes in the world of numismatics. The Kennedy half-dollar remains one of the most collected coins in America, and the 1971 issue is especially popular for the story it tells. Whether as part of a complete set, as a standalone historical piece, or as a rare variety, it continues to attract attention and admiration. For those fortunate enough to hold one of the finest, rarest, and most valuable examples of the United States of America Kennedy half $1,971, its worth can soar to as much as $245,000. Top 3. The Kennedy half-dollar series has long been a symbol of American pride and remembrance, and among the many dates in this collection, the 1973 issue holds a very special story. At first glance, it may look like a regular half-dollar, but its background, its striking details, and its rarity in circulation make it a fascinating coin that collectors treasure today. The 1973 Kennedy half-dollar represents not only a point in U.S. coinage history but also a coin that carries deeper meaning for those who study it closely. When the Kennedy half-dollar was first introduced in 1964, it was struck as a memorial to the late President John F. Kennedy, who was tragically assassinated in November 1963. The coin was embraced by the American public and quickly became one of the most popular coins of the modern era. Through the years, changes were made to its metal composition, and by 1971, the coin was no longer struck in silver for circulation, instead being produced in copper-nickel clad. The 1973 Kennedy half-dollar continues that tradition of clad coinage. However, what sets this year apart is that coins dated 1973 were not released into general circulation. They were produced only for use in collector sets, such as mint sets and proof sets, which makes them much scarcer than typical issues. As a result, the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar is a date that collectors actively seek out, since very few people ever encountered it in their change. On the obverse, the coin features the well-known portrait of President Kennedy designed by Gilroy Roberts. His profile is strong and noble, facing left, with the inscriptions, Liberty and In God We Trust, surrounding the design. The date 1973 sits beneath the portrait, marking the year of issue. Even in its clad form, the details of the design reflect Kennedy's enduring presence and the respect the nation held for him. The reverse of the coin, designed by Frank Gasparo, continues to impress collectors with its intricate rendering of the presidential seal. At its center, an eagle spreads its wings, holding an olive branch and arrows in its talons, a reminder of peace and strength. Around the eagle are 50 stars, representing the states of the Union, along with the inscriptions, United States of America, and half-dollar. The design is both patriotic and artistic, embodying the spirit of the nation. Coins from 1973 were struck at multiple mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The San Francisco Mint also produced special proof coins, which are highly valued for their mirror-like surfaces and frosted devices. These proof coins are some of the most visually appealing examples from the year and remain in high demand among collectors who appreciate both their beauty and rarity. The fact that 1973 half-dollars were not intended for circulation gives them a unique status. Unlike other years, where collectors might find examples in pocket change or coin rolls, the 1973 issues had to be sought out specifically from mint-issued sets. This decision by the Mint ensured that the majority of surviving coins remained in excellent condition, making high-grade examples relatively available, though still prized for their scarcity. Era coins from this year add even more excitement to the story of the 1973 half-dollar. Off-center strikes, doubled dies, and other minting mistakes are known, and each one transforms a regular coin into a valuable rarity. These errors are especially treasured by numismatists who enjoy uncovering the unexpected. The 1973 Kennedy half-dollar also tells us much about American coinage policy in the 1970s. By limiting its release to collector sets, the Mint demonstrated how strongly it was catering to numismatists and recognizing their role in preserving the legacy of U.S. coins. This decision makes the 1973 issue not just a coin, but a reflection of how coin collecting itself was evolving in the modern era.in proof form. The 1973 half-dollar is stunning. With deep cameo contrast between Kennedy's frosted profile and the brilliant mirrored background, these coins are miniature works of art. Their craftsmanship and presentation capture both the respect for Kennedy's memory and the pride of the nation during that decade. The 1970s were a time of great change in America, politically and socially, and the Kennedy half-dollar remained a constant presence, a reminder of the nation's ideals and resilience. The 1973 issue stands out in this period as a coin that bridged history with collecting tradition. Because these coins were produced only in mint sets and proof sets, pristine examples have been preserved remarkably well. Collectors today often search for the highest graded coins possible, with flawless surfaces, strong luster, and sharp detail. Professional grading services recognize the best of these coins, and the finest known examples command extraordinary value. The Kennedy half-dollar has always been more than just a piece of money. It is a tribute, a memory, and a work of art. The 1973 issue, with its unusual release history and beautiful design, continues to fascinate collectors and remind us of how coins can capture moments in history. For many, owning a 1973 Kennedy half-dollar is about more than its metal or rarity. It is about holding a direct connection to the era, the legacy of President Kennedy, and the evolution of U.S. coinage. It remains one of the most intriguing coins of the decade and a must-have for any serious collection. For those fortunate enough to possess the rarest and finest examples of the United States of America Kennedy half $1,973, its value can rise as high as $235,000. Top 4. The Kennedy half-dollar has been a coin of admiration and remembrance since its introduction in 1964, and every year of its issue tells its own unique story. The 1988 Kennedy half-dollar, while often overlooked as a modern-clad coin, carries with it the legacy of one of America's most iconic coin series. Its design, symbolism, and the historical context of its minting give it a special place in numismatics. For collectors, it represents both accessibility and the potential for rare, high-value treasures when found in the finest conditions or with unusual minting varieties. The Kennedy half-dollar was born out of national tragedy, created to honor President John F. Kennedy after his assassination in 1963. The coin was embraced by Americans who wanted to hold on to a piece of his memory, and from the very beginning it became one of the most widely collected coins in U.S. history. By 1988, the series had already been in circulation for nearly 25 years, and while the coin had transitioned to a copper-nickel-clad composition years earlier, it still carried the same strong symbolism. On the obverse of the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar, Gilroy Roberts' well-known portrait of President Kennedy remains as powerful as ever. His profile, facing left, captures both strength and grace, surrounded by the inscriptions, Liberty and In God We Trust. The date 1988 rests below the portrait, grounding the coin in its specific place in history. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, features the presidential coat of arms, a bald eagle with wings outstretched, holding an olive branch of peace and arrows of defense in its talons. Above the eagle's head, a banner reads, E pluribus unum, while a circle of 50 stars represents the states of the Union. The inscriptions, United States of America, and half-dollar complete the design. This reverse is among the most detailed and patriotic of any circulating U.S. coin, and its artistry continues to impress collectors. The 1988 Kennedy half-dollar was struck at multiple mints. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint struck coins with the DE mint mark. The San Francisco Mint created proof versions for collectors, and these proofs are especially admired for their deep cameo contrast and beautiful detail. With mirror-like fields and frosted devices, the proof coins from this year remain some of the most stunning examples of modern U.S. coinage. By the late 1980s, the Kennedy half-dollar was no longer a common sight in everyday transactions. Though millions were struck each year, circulation demand was low, and many half-dollars were set aside in banks or saved in rolls. This makes finding a 1988 Kennedy half-dollar and change today a rare event, and most surviving pieces are either lightly circulated or preserved by collectors. For numismatists, the 1988 issue is notable for its quality variations. Circulating strikes can be found in high grades, but only the best preserved coins with flawless luster and no contact marks achieve top values. Proof coins from San Francisco add another level of desirability, especially those certified as perfect by grading services. Errors and varieties from 1988 add intrigue to the series. Collectors search for doubled dies, off-center strikes, and other minting anomalies that make a coin one of a kind. These unusual pieces can elevate an ordinary 1988 half-dollar into a numismatic treasure worth far more than face value. The late 1980s were a time of change in America, and the Kennedy half-dollar remained a steady reminder of ideals such as leadership, unity, and progress. The coins served as both currency and memorial, keeping alive the image of a president whose vision had inspired the nation decades earlier. The 1988 issue continued that tradition, proving that even in years when the design did not change, the meaning behind the coin remained just as powerful. The Kennedy half-dollar has always appealed to both casual collectors and serious numismatists. For beginners, the 1988 issue is affordable and accessible, making it a natural entry point into coin collecting. For advanced collectors, the challenge lies in locating superb gem-quality examples, pristine proofs, or rare error varieties that elevate the coin's significance. Proof sets from 1988, which include the Kennedy half-dollar, are particularly prized today. These sets showcase the mint's highest level of craftsmanship and preserve coins in flawless condition, often passed down as heirlooms or displayed as part of larger collections. The Kennedy half within these sets stands out for its mirror-like beauty. The artistry of the Kennedy half-dollar deserves recognition as well. Gilroy Roberts and Frank Gasparo, the coin's designers, created one of the most enduring works of modern numismatics. Their designs have lasted decades without major alteration, a testament to the strength of their vision. The 1988 issue demonstrates how well the design adapts to modern minting technology, with sharper details and better strikes than earlier years. The 1988 Kennedy half-dollar also illustrates how the series bridges the gap between everyday money and historical legacy. Though struck in common-clad metal, it carries the weight of history, a living tribute to President Kennedy, and a reminder of America's values. Its wide mintage makes it available to collectors everywhere, while rare high-grade examples and proofs remind us that true beauty and value can be found in even the most modern of coins. Collectors who build full sets of Kennedy half-dollars know the importance of the 1988 issue in telling the story of the series. It sits within a long tradition that began in 1964 and continues to the present, showing how the coin has evolved while retaining its identity. Each year adds another chapter to this story, and 1988 remains an essential piece of that history. While many 1988 Kennedy half-dollars remain in collections, only a select few exist in the finest conditions, untouched by time or circulation. These rare examples, whether flawless mint state coins or perfect proofs, command the highest respect and value in the numismatic world. For those fortunate enough to own one of the rarest, most pristine examples of the United States of America Kennedy half $1,988, its value can reach as high as $115,000. Top 5. The Kennedy half-dollar has long been one of the most iconic coins in American history, admired not only for its design but also for the story it carries. Among the many issues of the series, the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar holds a special place. It represents a period in the series when the coin had transitioned away from common circulation and had become more of a collector's piece, yet it still carried the same spirit of honor and remembrance that has defined it since 1964. For collectors today, the 1998 issue offers both accessibility and the possibility of discovering a hidden treasure when found in top condition or with rare minting varieties. The Kennedy half-dollar was first struck in 1964 to honor President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination the year before. From the very beginning, the coin was embraced by the American people as a tribute to a leader who symbolized hope, progress, and youthful energy. Over the decades, the coin became not just a piece of money but also a cultural and historical emblem. By the late 1990s, the Kennedy half-dollar was still being struck in large numbers, though its role in everyday commerce had nearly vanished. The obverse of the 1998 half-dollar, designed by Gilroy Roberts, features the now familiar profile of President Kennedy. His left-facing portrait is bold and dignified, surrounded by the word, liberty, and the national motto, "In God We Trust." The date 1998 is clearly shown below, marking the coin's production in that year. This portrait, with its clean lines and elegant presentation, has remained largely unchanged since its first appearance, a testament to its enduring strength as a work of design. On the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, is the striking image of the presidential coat of arms. At its center is a majestic bald eagle with wings spread wide, clutching arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other. The eagle is surrounded by a ring of 50 stars representing the states, with the inscriptions, "United States of America," and half-dollar completing the design. It is one of the most patriotic reverses in U.S. coinage history, and in 1998 it continued to shine as a symbol of American pride. The 1998 Kennedy half-dollar was struck at multiple mints. Coins without a mint mark were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, while those bearing the D mint mark came from the Denver Mint. In addition, the San Francisco Mint issued proof coins, specially struck for collectors with mirrored fields and frosted devices that highlight every detail. These proof coins from 1998 are especially beautiful and remain among the most desirable versions of this year's issue. By 1998, Kennedy half-dollars were no longer in common use. Though millions were minted, most of them were distributed to collectors, banks, and storage rather than circulating widely in everyday commerce. This has made finding one in change an uncommon experience, and many surviving examples are well preserved, giving collectors an opportunity to acquire them in excellent condition. Collectors value the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar for both its historical significance and its potential rarity in certain conditions. Circulating strikes are readily available, but coins that have been preserved in flawless mint state condition or proof coins that grade at the highest levels are far more valuable. The San Francisco Mint's proof coins, particularly those with deep cameo contrast, are especially sought after. The year 1998 is also significant because it produced special collector versions, such as the 1998's matte finish half-dollar, which was released as part of a two-coin set with a silver dollar honoring Robert F. Kennedy. This matte finish coin is among the scarcest and most collectible Kennedy half-dollars of the modern era, known for its unique texture and limited mintage. Errors and varieties from 1998 add further excitement for collectors. As with other issues, doubled dies, off-center strikes, and other unusual minting mistakes can transform a common coin into a rare and valuable piece. Searching for these varieties remains one of the thrills of coin collecting. The late 1990s were a transitional period in American coinage, with the upcoming launch of the State Quarters program in 1999 capturing the public's attention. Yet the Kennedy half-dollar continued to serve as a reminder of continuity, linking the present to a national legacy. The 1998 issue, therefore, stands as both a modern coin and a historical artifact. For new collectors, the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar is often one of the first coins to be added to a collection. It is modern enough to be found in good condition and affordable in lower grades, yet it holds stories and symbolism that connect to the larger narrative of U.S. history. For advanced collectors, the challenge lies in finding pristine mint state coins, high-quality proofs, and rare varieties like the matte finish issue. The artistry of the coin deserves special recognition. Gilroy Roberts' portrait of Kennedy and Frank Gasparo's detailed reverse remain among the most admired designs in American numismatics. Together, they created a coin that has stood the test of time, with its power and elegance undiminished more than 5 decades after its introduction. The 1998 issue demonstrates the lasting strength of their work. The Kennedy half-dollar has always been more than money. It is a piece of memory, pride, and symbolism. In 1998, that tradition continued. The coin reflected not only the enduring respect for President Kennedy but also the ongoing importance of coins as markers of national identity. Even in an age when it rarely circulated, the half-dollar carried weight as a collector's piece and as a tribute to history. For those who collect full runs of Kennedy half-dollars, the 1998 issue is an essential link in the series. It sits at an interesting moment in time, bridging the years before the dramatic coin collecting boom of the State Quarter program. It stands as proof that even modern coins can carry immense historical and cultural meaning. Proof sets from 1998, particularly those containing the Kennedy half-dollar, are often preserved as family keepsakes or heirlooms. They showcase the mint's craftsmanship and allow future generations to hold in their hands a coin that tells the story of both the Kennedy legacy and American coinage tradition. While the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar is available in large numbers, only a small fraction exists in the finest condition or as rare varieties. These special examples command strong interest from collectors and can reach extraordinary values in the numismatic marketplace. For those fortunate enough to own one of the rarest, most pristine examples of the United States of America Kennedy $1,998, its value can reach as high as $76,000.